All right, now let's move on to Marvel's Eternals. Look, we got to address the elephant in the room with this one. Um, this is the lowest critically scored film on Rotten Tomatoes for Marvel films. Um, and I have no idea why. It's actually the lowest by a bit. I don't get it. Like, I can name at least five Marvel films worse than this top of my head. I might even, it might even crack my top 10, if not definitely my top 15 Marvel films. It's pretty all right. I think it's like mid tier. I have no idea why the scores are so low. Adrienne, what's your reaction, not to the film but to the critic score?
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. As especially I tried to block it out and not let it influence my viewing. And then after I had watched the film, I walked out with just question marks hovering all over my head. I don't know what the hell sort of problems they had with this. There was so much diversity. The actors were great. The characters were Chloe Zhao pulled sort of a nomad land and sort of smushed it into a Marvel movie and gave her characters way more life and depth than we're used to getting. And we also got this beautiful, I mean, they're visually usually stunning anyway, but this one was special and it was different and had a bit more of a classic
It's very
cinematography vibe.
There's a lot of like golden hour, like sunset stuff.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I feel like they used way more natural lighting than a typical Marvel film did.
That's what it looked like.
It's very like, it's definitely not Oscar bait, but it's like the visuals like Oscar bait inspired, I feel. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And like, I sort of get it now. Like there was like some memes going around making fun of Kevin Feige because the only thing he would talk about this movie going up forward is Chloe Zhao's an amazing director. It's amazing. In fact, there's rumors going around that for a while he's been listed by Disney to do a Star Wars film to sort of bring some of that Marvel success that way. And there's a rumor going around that he wants Chloe Zhao to direct his Star Wars film. He loves her directing so much.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, but like it does look very different. Let me actually read, just before we move on to this, I just want to read the critic consensus versus the audience consensus
Okay.
on Rotten Tomatoes. So the critics say an ambitious superhero epic that soars as often as it strains, Eternals takes an intriguing and occasionally confounding new directions, which still sounds kind of positive for a 47%. The audience is saying it's a different kind of Marvel movie, but Eternals still contains all the action, humor, and heart that fans are looking for. Which I think I agree. But so let's talk more in depth of the film. So we've discussed the visuals; they're very great. Let's talk about the characters. Did anyone stand out for you, or any performances or anything like that?
Ooh, I guess who stood out for me the most? I really liked. It's Druid.
Oh yeah.
I actually really, really liked him a lot, even though he didn't get as much screen time. I love his power. Like, his power is probably my favorite.
Yeah, he's like I don't know. He's like Loki times 2. Like he's like but mind control. Actually, no, he's more like. Did you ever watch Jessica Jones on Netflix?
No, I didn't actually.
David Tennant played this villain in the first season called the Purple Man. An incredible performance. It was very like that season's all about like he has mind control powers and uses it to rape a superhero, Jessica Jones.
My God.
And so the whole season's about her overcoming her trauma and him as a stalker. It's very dark, but like this is like that minus the dark, sinister, evil shit.
Yes.
Like
he is so hell-bent on like using his power for good.
Yeah.
Which I really respect.
And I think that touches into one of the things that makes this movie feel so different is the themes are much grander and philosophical than anything dealt before. Like with his character.
Exactly.
He has the ability to end all war. He has the ability to make the world a better place, but he's not allowed to use it. And then a similar issue with Fastos, I think his name is, the Marvel's first openly gay superhero. He has the ability to revolutionize humanity with technology, but he's not allowed to use it. And it's really interesting to see that. And then it gets really messed up. I've got to make a confession here. I did leave to go to the bathroom at one point. I only missed one scene from what I understand. But as my friend made me realize, I missed possibly one of those damning scenes of the film. It's where they allude to the fact that Fastos created the bomb that bombed Hiroshima. So I missed that, and so I'm just he's just the guy he's good with technology. It's like, no, he's burdened with this thing, and apparently some people found that offensive. I can understand why, obviously, but that's what I kind of like about this movie. Not the fact that it's offending people, but rather the fact that it deals with these much grander themes. And just from the get-go, when they're like, in the beginning, there was a celestial who created the sun. It's like, oh, okay, so God doesn't exist. You just changed all the Marvel movies in one sentence. That's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. It's very intense.
Yeah.
There's so many characters, and they all have so much to be explored. I also loved Gilgamesh and Kingo, which I think everyone did.
Kingo is what made me want to see it. I love Kumail Nanjiani, and he's a hardcore nerd. I discovered him through a podcast he used to have called The Indoor Kids. Oh my God. Which is like, I think they mostly covered video games. Him and his wife, who he wrote The Big Sick about. That is about them. And to see him ripped in a superhero movie, it's like amazing to see.
So amazing.
It's like one of us is one of the superheroes now. So I got to admit, like, while there are so many great characters in here, I think the best thing Chloe Zhao did is make them all feel very three-dimensional. They are done a lot better than a lot of the other character work with a lot of the other minor characters in Marvel films. And it's amazing that so many characters with such little screen time get to do so much. But I will say, the way they do that, there are some shortcuts they take, which I don't love. For example, I hate how Kingo just sort of leaves before the final fight.
Yeah, I actually really did not like that. I wish he had stayed.
Like, then the final fight was incredible. Like, I forget her name, but the death superhero, like, her fighting Icarus was so intense and so awesome. But seeing, like, he was like, okay, like, my favorite character, Kingo, is just like, see you guys, enjoy the fight. I'll see you at the end of the movie. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you just got rid of my favorite character. And I get that they had to kill a few off, which is a great way to not have to do them. There's one character I'd like to talk trash about. Okay. I don't know, man. He just the actor who played Gilgamesh is just not on the same level as the rest of the cast. I'm sorry, but
I thought he was adorable.
He was, but like whenever he's delivering his lines, I just felt like, I don't believe you. Like, I don't know, maybe it's me. And I think what made it worse is he's acting opposite. All these scenes, he's acting opposite Angelina Jolie. Which also, I think Angelina, I wish she had a little bit more meat to chew on. Like, she was great with what she had, but it's Angelina Jolie. I expected her to be front and center. To see her as like, a side character, I was like, no.
It was sort of odd. Like, it felt weird, her having to sort of being held back because there's so many people like to have on screen.
Like, I feel like they just like, I don't know, like someone as famous Angelina Jolie you'd think would be hogging the spotlight. But instead she didn't have a ton to do, but she was great. But like putting her against who I think might have been the weakest actor, it didn't do him a service, I think. But you know,
that's a fair point.
You know, I really still enjoyed the film. I thought the lore and exploring that was really great. I'm really excited to see what happens next. I don't know if I want to see these characters team up with the Avengers though, because they seem so larger than life. I can't imagine, you know, Ant-Man talking to a literal god. You know, just
I get you.
Like maybe it'd be funny, but you know, I also like there is comedy in this film, and the comedy is really funny, but it doesn't take over the film like it does with a lot of Marvel movies, and I really respect that.
It doesn't take like I think typically it's a lot of comedy at the surface, but with this one, and then and then there'll be like a big moment where there's like something serious will come out where you go deeper into a character, whereas that's more common, that's more prevalent than comedy throughout this film.
Yeah. I've heard some people criticize the villains, saying the what are they called? The deviants,
yeah.
They're a bit generic, but it's like it's kind of their point. They're more like an objective rather than a character. But seeing like Icarus sort of temporarily turn bad made him a good villain. I think the character Icarus is super interesting. He's my favorite.
I think so too.
Apparently Selma Hayek is contracted for more movies. I know what they're going to do with that, because
there's always a way to. She did, but they always find a way.
Yeah.
There will be some sort of loophole.
I got one more criticism. Maybe I'm just nitpicking here, but I don't like how it ended on a cliffhanger.
Really?
I think it's the first Marvel movie to end on a cliffhanger. Like the fact that half of them go missing, and it's like, that's bullshit. I gotta wait 5 years to find out what happens now. Like, how long it's gonna take for Eternals 2?
Surely not 5 years. That'd be way too long, because I need to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I reckon it'll be minimum 3 years. But like, you gotta remember, Marvel, like, they release 2 to 3 movies a year, and we already know of like, I think 5 coming out, and none of them are Eternals 2. So
that's true.
I feel like we might be waiting a while.
No.
I don't love... Okay, now this is a nitpick. Okay, in the post-credits scene, we do see Bruce Banner, but he's not Professor Hulk anymore. Which kind of spoils, I assume, in She-Hulk, he's going to turn back. I don't know. That's nitpicking. Last question I got for you on this.
Yes.
Do you have a particular reaction to Harry Styles as...
Yes. Okay, unfortunately, that got spoiled for me online, because if I didn't know about it, I probably would have physically screamed in my chair. And it's not because I'm a big fan of his or anything. It's because, well, I am, but
you wouldn't have expected him to be in a Marvel
movie. I would
movie.
not have expected it at all. And I think that I really liked him in Dunkirk. I think that his physical acting was a great introduction to what he's capable of. And they cast him as Eros, who's literally like the god of love and sex. So he is a sex god, rock and roll, like...
There are a lot of women out there who would agree with you. He is.
Yeah. And you know what I really liked? His little buddy. I can't remember his name, but it was giving me sort of
I think it's Pip, I think his name is, and he's voiced by... That's what I freaked out about, because I didn't know it was voiced by Patton Oswalt.
Okay.
Who is a great... Okay, also, just like I said about Kumail Nanjiani, super nerd. He's done so many things about comic books. He's actually been in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been in so many great comedy shows. He has a famous bit in Parks and Rec where he has to filibuster, and he talks about a crossover between Avengers and Star Wars. And
oh my god,
yeah, I love Patton Oswalt. He is really funny.
That's so good.
But I didn't know he was going to be in it, so I was. I don't care about Harry Styles, but I was freaking out about. I recognized his voice. I'm like, it's Happy. It's so many. He just actually voiced there's a Marvel show came out called MODOK, and he voices MODOK on that. It's a claymation robot chicken style thing.
That's so cool. I got mega like Groot Rocket best friend vibes from that little scene, and that was really exciting. So I'm very keen. That's why I can't wait. Like I need to. I need more.
I think introducing that character played by that actor with the little sidekick, it's really going to change the future of Eternals.
Yeah.
Like I think having that, it's really gonna, like, even an animated character, that's gonna change the whole vibe of the movie. Unless he gets his own movie separate to Eternals, who knows? Who knows?
Anything's possible.
But what I will say is, I didn't know that I knew it was leaked, but I didn't know to what extent, and I didn't realize that the front of my cinema was like multiple rows of girls coming to see Harry Styles. And when he came on, the scream was so loud, it was deafening. I could not hear what was going on.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I would have freaked out. I would have been like, what the hell is going on? They really kept it under wraps so well. There should be a thing that helps you like prevent seeing spoilers.
Yeah, actually, we got in trouble on TikTok. A few people got mad at us the other day for posting something about Spider-Man.
I did see that.
Guys, they're
unavoidable. They're unavoidable.
That one was unavoidable too. If it wasn't me, it would be someone else. But we will avoid the leaks from now on, guys. We apologize. I think. Do you have anything else to say about Eternals before we wrap things up?
Yes. One more thing. So I know that we get introduced to the Black Knight at the very end.
Oh yes, with
which is a pretty big deal because from what I know, he eventually does work with the Avengers.
Yeah,
in the comics.
Yeah, so I'm not super familiar with his character, but first, what I do know is the voice you hear at the end is apparently Blade. That's Mahershala Ali's first performance.
Yes.
And while I don't know if he's connected to him in the comics, but Black Knight fights a lot of supernatural things with his supernatural sword. So there's a kind of a crossover there. I feel like some nerds will get mad at me for saying this, but I think it's kind of dumb that Cersei just happens to be dating another superhero. It's like, there's too much of a coincidence.
What are the chances?
Yeah, I really hope they straighten it out. Otherwise, I think it's a bit dumb. And I also feel like the only reason they cast Kit Harington was just so he could do that one line where he says, "I love you, Cersei," and which got a huge laugh in my audience. But I cringed a little bit because I'm like, oh, come on. That's like you admitting you did stunt casting.
Yeah. That's true. It was a little bit cringe.